Welcome, my dear students and listeners. Today, in this video, we will discuss the Victorian period, which started from 1832 and almost ends in 1900s. The Victorian period officially starts from the first Reform Act of 1832. Victorian age took its name from Queen Victoria. She reigned from 1837 to 1901. Victorian period was the era of industrial revolution, social reforms, scientific progress, and expansion of the British Empire across the globe. So the Victorian period in English literature started in the second quarter of the 19th century and ended by 1900. The Victorian age was a continuation of Romantic period because the Romantic age came to a sudden and unnatural end due to the premature deaths of Byron, Shelley, and Keats. And if they had lived longer, the Romantic period would have extended further. The Victorian age took its name from Queen Victoria, who reigned England from 1837 to 1901. The Victorian age officially started from 1832 with the passing of the first Reform Act in 1832. The Victorian age is so long and complicated and having so many great writers that it is often divided into two periods. Number one, the early Victorian period. Number two, later Victorian period. The early Victorian period was the age of middle class supremacy and free trade. The great writers of this age are Tennyson, Brownings, Matthew Arnold. These three are poets of the early Victorian period, of whom the Tennyson is the representative of his age, while Carlyle, Ruskin, Dickens, and Thackeray are prose writers and novelists of the early Victorian period. All these writers have the same approach to the contemporary problems and the same literary, moral, and social values. The later Victorian writers include Rossetti, Swinburne, Morris, George Eliot. George Eliot is the name of a female writer who used her pseudonym George Eliot, and her real name was Mary Ann Evans. Meredith, Thomas Hardy, Newman, and Pater. These are the writers of the later Victorian period. The writers of the later Victorian age seem to have different attitude towards life, and it was mainly due to the advancement in science that there was difference between the attitudes of the writers of the early and the later Victorian period. The main thing was the Darwin theory of evolution. The theory of evolution by Darwin shook the foundation of religion and belief, and a severe mental disturbance occurred. Even the man like Tennyson affected more than anyone and became a pessimist towards life. And it was Browning who had a firm faith and accepted no disturbance during this age, which was the age of science and religious conflict. And in a way, romanticism not only continued during the Victorian period, but it appeared in a new form. The Victorian age therefore exhibits a very interesting and complex mixture of the two opposing elements, classicism and romanticism. Basically, it was inclined towards classicism on account of its rational approach to the problems of life. Uh, the Victorian age was the age of industrialization, social reform, scientific progress, literary realism, and economic progress. And in the end, I would like to explain that the early Victorian period was rich in poetry, while the later Victorian period was rich in novel. So, this was the overview, and you heard the names of the great writers of the early and the later Victorian writers. So, in next video, so I will try to explain the poetry and the novels of the Victorian period, the later and the early both. So if you are new in the channel, so please subscribe my channel to receive such videos on literature and linguistics. So thank you very much. See you in next video.